So let's go ahead and play along with a 1-4-5 progression. And we're just going to solo. We're going to come up with ideas. I'm just in the regular pentatonic scale when I would play very few notes. Now maybe I'll go to my lateral scale. Let's try our minor to major scale. Let's add some bends into it. Now when we talk about bending, the easiest way to get a good solid bend is to put down 3 fingers. So we're in our pentatonic scale right now, so we'll put down 3 fingers. The palm of my hand is going to come flat, and I'm going to push up real hard, using the strength of all 3 fingers down on the neck. Now as you get better, you won't need to. You'll just be able to use 1 finger up. But you're going to get your best bends with all 3 down. Let's talk a little bit about double stops. So double stops, we're going back to where we were talking about our bar chords. So again, we get back into this idea of barring. So for double stops, let's go ahead and take our finger, we'll put it across. And let's try to just play parts of the pentatonic scale with these 2 fingers down. So I'm taking my 4th finger, pulling it off, but I'm keeping this barred across. Same thing in the B string. Now let's try to do that same idea, just a string lower. We'll do 4-1, 3-1. We can go down to the next string. And so on and so forth. So these riffs are just double stops. It's using this principle of barring our finger and having multiple tones from the intervals, but tones from that scale ring out at once. So let's try around with that. Let's add those bends back in. Let's also play around with another fun trick. This is going to be bending notes while doing a double stop. So here's how we're going to do that. We're going to again stay right here on the same pentatonic scale. We'll put our first finger on the 5th fret of the B string. We're going to put our third finger on the 7th fret of the G string. We're going to try to keep this first finger just anchored real tight. Notice how, again, the back of my thumb is flush to the neck of the guitar. My thumb is actually sticking up quite a bit here, and I'm getting a lot of power from my palm being flush to the back of the neck of my guitar as well. Now my third finger is going to come down to the 7th fret of the G string. And I'm going to push up, but I'm just going to try to push up with my second and my third finger there on the G string while keeping my first finger down. So here's what it sounds like. First finger anchored there on the 5th fret of the B string. On the G string, my third finger goes down, and then I put the second finger right below it so I get more strength. And I bend. Now let's try that one string lower. Doesn't quite have the same sound, so we'll go back to the B string. Now let's try that, and we're going to do it now on the E string anchored. And this next bend, there's a couple different ways you can do it, because it's going to be a 4th finger bend, but that doesn't always work so easy. That's pretty hard to do with your 4th finger. So what a lot of folks do, myself included, is I'll put my 3rd finger down in place of where my 4th finger usually goes. So first finger down on the E string, 5th fret. 3rd finger is going to reach all the way up to the 8th fret on the B string. And then my second finger will go right below it to give me the strength of the bend again. Let's give that a shot. Try that again. So let's try B string bend. Well, I shouldn't say B string bend. Let's try a bend with our first finger anchored on the B string. And let's try a bend with our first finger anchored on the high E string. This is a really cool thing to do. You get a lot of emotion out of that. Double stops. Alright, let's give that all a try. Ever be ashamed to play around with the different tones too. You get a lot of difference when your selector switches up on the neck pickup. The guitar's a lot warmer, and then when it's down in the bridge pickup where it's a lot brighter. that's a lot to play around with there.